Every general manager in baseball has a guy or two that just got away. That was the case for Dodgers president of baseball operations, Andrew Friedman, with respect to Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez. We're going to revisit that deal, how it happened, what went wrong there for the Dodgers. But please do run down first and subscribe to this channel. If you haven't noticed, we're putting out videos every day of the week. We'd love to have you back to keep up with all of them. So why did the Dodgers trade Yordan Alvarez? Did they get tired of him? Did he make some bad choices in the clubhouse? The team just didn't see the talent develop? Nope, none of those things, not even close to it. At the time he was traded, he was less than 2 months removed from initially signing with the Dodgers. At the time, a $2 million signing bonus. The team paid exactly that amount in international taxes, so it ended up costing them about $4 million to bring him into the organization in the first place. Nothing had happened in that time to make the Dodgers sour on Alvarez. He had not even yet suited up for the team. All that happened was, in the meantime, the club was sitting there in the middle of that 2016 season, needed a boost, and was looking for a reliever. And several other teams around the game were also in the mix for Astros righty Josh Fields. Now, Fields was himself kind of an interesting guy to be traded because he had been up and down between the majors and the minors that year. He had been fairly successful in the prior season, but was getting knocked around a bit at the big league level, except that his peripherals, his strikeouts, his walks, still looked phenomenal. So there was a lot of interest in him at that time. Andy McCullough, who now writes for The Athletic, at that point wrote for the LA Times, did a great job chronicling some of the elements of this deal. Among them, the fact that no, the Astros were not initially after Alvarez at all. They asked for several other players. We don't know the specific identities, but Friedman, now looking back, has said, yeah, we wish we said yes to one of those other names. At the time, though, it's sort of a humorous anecdote here. Apparently, Alvarez was so far off the map that when then Astros GM Jeff Luhnow asked about him, the Dodgers weren't even sure which Alvarez they were referring to. They thought the Astros were asking about another Cuban, Yadier Alvarez, who was then a pretty high-impact pitching prospect, much more on the map than Yordan. Now, I do think it's important to recognize that the Dodgers did sort of get what they bargained for here, which was Fields. The guy came in, he ended up pitching 2.5 years, over 100 innings for the Dodgers, 2.61 ERA, struck out about a batter an inning. His walks and hits per innings pitched, that's the whip stat, only about 1 walk hit per inning pitched. That's a very low number. The guy threw pretty well overall for the Dodgers. So that was useful, but yeah, not worth giving up Alvarez. Now, at the time, let's remember, Alvarez was what Friedman described as something of an afterthought. This was a guy who had really not put on much of a track record at any kind of level of play because he was a teenager playing in Cuba before he defected and had been too young to really show much there. Scouts were able to get an in-person look at him, but it wasn't in full-blown game action, and he hadn't yet even appeared in an affiliated team system, in their minor league system. And so at the time, he was really a complete unknown. 6'5", big frame had just started to fill out, but at the time, oddly, the question offensively was whether his power would ever really come through. That now seems ridiculous to even think about. And of course, this is a guy that most people saw as a bat-only prospect. Might stick at first base, maybe a little bit of time in the corner outfield. Remember, he's still only 22 years of age and probably going to end up spending most of his career as a DH. So, really was not a huge prospect at the time, by the way. Credit to Ben Badler of Baseball America, who was on top of that, had some good info at the time. But as soon as he jumped into the professional ranks, we now know Alvarez turned into a complete monster, and we really saw that on display last year in his 2019 rookie season. Now, bear in mind, Alvarez only played in 87 games, still hit 27 home runs. The OPS was over 1,000. This guy was one of the very most productive hitters in all of baseball. AL Rookie of the Year award. It's only about one half of a season so far, and he has had some knee issues, but I think it's pretty safe to say that the Astros don't really care whether he can play in the field, and the Dodgers wish that they had to figure out where to put that bat in their already loaded lineup. Now, this one obviously didn't work out for the Dodgers in the long run, but as Friedman himself has said, it was really an odd set of circumstances where Alvarez was traded so closely after his signing. It just so happened that one Astros scout who talked to Luno in advance of the deadline was really high on Alvarez. They wished they had had the money to sign him in the first place, but just couldn't get it done before the Dodgers swooped in. They were able to get back and get that deal done after the fact, and all it cost them was a guy who was pretty much unnecessary to that team at that time. This is why these trades get done at the deadline. This is what every team is hoping to do, uncover that needle in the haystack. Thanks for being with us as always. Please do hit the like button below. Let us know if you have any other ideas about things you want to hear about in the next couple of weeks.